Hello Unlimited friends, it's Zehra back again with Q&A about the law of attraction and its application to our lives. The question today is about sexual fantasies and it was sent to me by Mona. I am not going to read out the whole message, but it is in the description of the video so you can read it there. I'm just going to highlight a few of the sentences. So Mona says, my relationship with my husband is not good. After spiritual awakening 7 years ago, I completely lost interest in sex. But since the last 4 months, suddenly sexual thoughts started coming to my mind and the image of a man. I try to push these thoughts away, but they don't go away. After I started getting these sexual thoughts, within a week, my husband talked to me about getting a divorce. I don't want to marry again at the age of 50. I want to know the reason for my thoughts. All right, guys, this is a really interesting question, and it indicates how we connect things that don't need to be connected. So, Mona, sweetheart, I want to point out to you that the fact that your relationship with your husband was not working, that didn't happen suddenly. It was a process. Over a period of time, that relationship was not working. And if it wasn't working, what does that tell you about your emotional state? Obviously, if your marriage was not working, you were not high on the emotional scale. But I want to take it a step further and I want to say to you that the reason your marriage was not working was because you were not high on the emotional scale to begin with. Your marriage did not take you down the emotional scale. You were already low on the emotional scale, which is why the marriage didn't work in the first place. Now, the second thing I want to point out to you, sweetheart, is that your spiritual awakening is in no way connected to the fact that you lost interest in sex. You lost your sex drive. Your sex drive is not connected to spirituality. Spirituality does not remove your sexual inclinations. You are human. So the reasons you did not feel sexually inclined probably have to do with the fact that your relationship with your husband was not working very well. And the second reason can be that you were premenopausal. Because a lot of women shy away from having sex because their hormonal balance changes when they are going through menopause. It doesn't happen to everyone, but it does happen to some people. So the difference comes from where you are on the emotional scale. If you go through menopause when you are high on the emotional scale, nothing is affected. You don't have hot flashes, you don't lose your sex drive, and you don't have cramps or any of the other indications. When you are low on the emotional scale and you go through premenopausal stage or menopause, then you suffer from the indications that a lot of people talk about. And this is why managing our emotional state and having an awareness of where we are on the emotional scale is so important. So please, I want you to today disconnect spirituality from sex drive. It has nothing to do with it. In fact, if you are high on the emotional scale, your sex drive is improved and you enjoy it a lot more. Because think about it. It behaves the same way as anything else. The same action taken from a place high on the emotional scale is delicious. And the same action taken from a place low on the emotional scale is disgusting. It has only to do with your emotional state. All right, so now let's talk about it. You say that in the last 4 months, suddenly you started having these sexual fantasies in which the person was not your husband, it was another man. Well, you've been depriving yourself of a natural feeling. So as you start feeling more comfortable, as you start going through that menopausal phase, and that menopausal phase is now coming to an end, your sex drive is returning. So don't connect it with the fact that your husband is asking you for a divorce. It has nothing to do with it. Whether or not you were having sexual fantasies, your husband might still ask you for a divorce just for the simple fact that the marriage isn't working. Don't connect things that don't need to be connected, because when you connect things that don't need to be connected, you are restricting yourself, you are becoming conditional, and you are creating beliefs that are going to hold you back. So the thing about these sexual fantasies is to ask yourself how it feels. You don't have to push them away. Obviously, they are satisfying a need that you have. So enjoy it. You're saying in your message to me, I try to push them away, but they don't go. The more you try to push, then the more they will come. Like anything else, it's law of attraction. Whatever you push away comes to you more. If it's a perspective of lack, it's something that you don't have in your life, and so it's coming to you. And the more you think about it, the more time you spend there, then the more it will come. But the main question I want to ask you is, why do you think that there is something wrong with it and you have to push it away? That's the main thing that you need to address. There's nothing wrong with having sexual fantasies, unless you have told yourself that it is something wrong. I'm going to say to you, there's nothing wrong with it. But you have to come to terms with that yourself. If you keep telling yourself that there's something wrong with having these sexual fantasies, then you are keeping yourself low on the emotional scale. And you are perpetuating the process of having the sexual fantasies and staying low on the emotional scale, which both of those things don't serve you. If you're going to have sexual fantasies, have them from a place high on the emotional scale and enjoy them. Now, the next thing that I want to address is, you've got this thing stuck in your head that says, I don't want to marry at the age of 50. Well, who told you that you should? There's no rule that says you should or should not. It is a personal preference. If you don't want to get married, don't. But don't link it to anything else. Don't link it to any of the sexual fantasies you're having. The person who is in your dreams might be real or not. It doesn't matter. You are reading too much into it. And you know what that tells me? That tells me that you have an overactive mind. You are an overthinker. And the problem with overthinkers is that they zone out and they go off on autopilot. And when they do that, they have no idea where their thoughts are taking them. And usually, your thoughts will take you to a negative place when you're not aware of where you're going. So, I want you to become more aware in your thinking. You see, what's going to happen is that the more you have, when you have a sexual fantasy and you say, oh my God, I'm having that sexual fantasy again. There's something wrong with this. I shouldn't be having this. And you try to push it away, then it's going to happen again. So you ask me, what is the reason for my thoughts? Sweetheart, you keep thinking them. If you stop pushing against them and just enjoy them and relax and tell yourself that there's nothing wrong happening here, then you will enjoy them. And this stage of your having these fantasies will go away, right? Because these fantasies are coming from a place of lack. You have deprived yourself of something that you actually, in your heart, have never enjoyed and would like to start enjoying. So I don't know the details of your marriage, but I'm going to hazard a guess saying that you never had good sex. And you do really want to have good sex. So don't put a limitation on yourself and say, I am 50 and therefore there's a correct way for 50-year-olds to behave, because there isn't. Age is just a number. You can enjoy whatever you want at whatever age you are. So I hope that this helps you, and I want you to know that the reason for your thoughts is because you keep pushing against them. When you notice the lack of something and you keep noticing it, it will keep coming back. It's as simple as that. That's what law of attraction is all about. So stop pushing against and go with ease and flow. Allow yourself enjoyment of your sexual fantasies and tell yourself, I am ready and open to whatever comes at this stage in my life. Universe, bring me the things, the people that are going to contribute towards my happiness at this stage of my life. And just leave it at that. There's one last thing that you talked about. You said, I feel the impulse to visit a temple that is far away from where I live. It has nothing to do with anything else. If you feel like you want to go and visit this temple, go and visit the temple. It's not a big deal. Don't make it into a big deal. Because I'll tell you something, as Abraham teaches us over and over and over again, there's nothing serious going on. Be easy, make the most of every single day, and be excited about the next stage of your life. I hope that this helps you, Mona, and I hope that it helps all other women who are in the same sort of a situation. Bye for now.